Hello, welcome to this short. In this short, we're talking about the kidneys. What do the kidneys do, and what happens when they stop working via acute or chronic kidney failure, and what implications does that have for us in EMS and first responders aiding those in those crises? So first, let's recap what do the kidneys do. Behind me, I have a crude depiction of a nephron. A nephron is a structure housed in the kidney that is the driving force behind its functionality. What are those functions? Well, let's start with removing waste. So first off, it's going to remove urea and then creatinine. These things are going to be eliminated and excreted in our urine. So when our kidneys are not working properly, those wastes are going to build up and accumulate. Additionally, what's another function of our kidney? It is reabsorbing and redistributing essential nutrients, matching up with the metabolic needs of the body. What does that mean? Okay, so everything's going to come through the kidneys and be filtered, but some of those things could be used. They're still good, they're still useful, and could be repurposed somehow. And so, thankfully, our kidneys are up for that job. So what kind of resources are we talking? Well, first of all, water, so H2O. We have potassium ions, sodium, as well as calcium. These three things are essential nutrients for most of our body cells, but also our cardiovascular system primarily. And so there is a direct correlation between our renal system and our cardiovascular system. So we have renal failure to some degree or completely. That will be reflected through our ECGs and seen in the cardiovascular system. What other type of things is it dealing with? Bicarbonate and hydrogen ions. Why and what does that mean? So when our body becomes acidic, when we are ill due to injury or disease processes or both, for whatever the reason, that is unnormal, that's unnatural, and so our body is going to secrete, it's going to secrete bicarbonate and hydrogen ions that have been repurposed and recycled from the plasma in our blood, and that's going to buffer those acidic agents to bring our body's pH back to 7.35, 7.4, which is what it's supposed to be at. And we'll see that, okay, when we have renal failure, these patients a lot of the times are acidic. So what's that going to present like to you out there? Okay, these individuals are probably going to be tachypnic. They're going to be breathing rapidly. And if you put an end-tidal capnography nasal cap on them, or if you have it via an AirQ3 or as an intermediate device with a bag valve mask, you are going to see a high reading of capnography. So these individuals are not going to be in that 35 to 45 range. Additionally, we talked about sodium and water. So if the kidneys are not working, that means that those functions are going to be thrown off. So these individuals are probably going to be hypertensive and retaining fluid through edema. Now, depending on the stage in failure and how long they have been symptomatic, or how many treatments they've missed, or if it's an acute injury, whatever the case be, those things are going to accumulate, and so you might see just a little bit of peripheral edema, or it could be globally, and you could even hear it in the lungs. So keep an eye out for that. Other things that the kidneys are going to do, they are going to aid in the activation of vitamin D, and they are going to stimulate the production of red blood cells in our bone marrow. So pretty important, a lot of different functions, and the study of kidneys goes fairly deep. So this is a crude depiction of what they do, but hopefully it's a good, quick, and dirty for you just to understand relatively what they're doing and what you're looking for out there on the streets. And so for these people, again, these people are going to present as most likely hypertensive. You're going to see edema and a high pH or a high end-tidal capnography reading, and they will be symptomatic of their acidic nature. Hopefully, that brings you some clarity when it comes to the kidneys and renal failure. And I'll see you in the next one.